Um, one of my on the couch is RedDagger. He wants to
Hello.
introduce himself.
Yeah, I've been running this game for
Starts now.
about 4 years. I had the world record for most of that, and then Klooger beat that fairly recently, so I'm currently second place. So we're starting with SSDD, and there isn't really much to say about this.
Yeah, this whole section doesn't matter too much. We're mostly slowed down by this translator here, who takes much longer to talk than everyone else. So
yeah, the timing.
everything we do here is not too
Yeah,
important.
the timings for the levels are dependent on only a few things, and one of the main ones is dialogue. So for here, we're literally just waiting like a minute and a half for this dude to keep talking, so it doesn't matter how fast we do this initial training section. Then after that, you'll get to see the movement of the game, which is strafe jumping, because this uses the IW engine, which is based off of ID Tech from Quake. So you get, as you're seeing there, strafing.
It's a bit hard to show off in this little area, but we'll see soon. We get to move.
Yeah, and the general idea is that when you strafe, you can strafe on the ground, and that increases the velocity that you normally have. So normally, ignoring other things that can change your velocity, you'll be at a maximum of about 285. But if you're ground strafing, you can get up to like 350 max. And then if you jump, you keep that velocity. So instead of the 285, you're at 350. And then you can strafe in the air. And then you can get a max 400 right at the peak, but generally we're going to be seeing something like 380, which compared to 285, still a lot faster. And then here we're going to be doing the only kind of real technical bit of the tutorial level, which is the pit.
And we only need to hit 18 targets here, so let's climb through the window there. So we just ignore some of them to try and get through as fast as possible.
And if you've played the Spec Ops for this game, you'll know that a fair few of the Spec Ops are based quite literally off of parts of campaign levels. So the very first Spec Ops mission is just that area.
And it's quite often the campaign levels, but backwards or something like that. And so this run doesn't really have too many skips. Most Call of Duty games are surprisingly stable. So even if we can skip past an area, you'll just end up sort of soft locking or something like that. So
yeah, a weird thing about the Call of Duty games is normally people expect them to just be this multiplayer experience, and a campaign is sort of this throwaway that no one's going to really care about. But they are surprisingly solid in terms of how they're built and in terms of how they're designed as well. So that does mean, in terms of skips, we don't do anything too crazy. This was...
Let's see, that was a skip. It looks pretty cool, but it saves less than a second if I hit it, so that's not too big of a deal. But that's a hard one for me to hit while I'm streaming because it's based on frame rates.
Yeah, that is the only thing in the game which is based off of FPS, because the amount you get boosted up by, the more FPS, the more you get boosted up. So on consoles, which are locked to 60 FPS, can't do it at all. But it doesn't matter. So, I mean, yeah, because the difference is very small. I don't really have anything much to say about this section, because...
This is pretty slow here. I mean, I might show off a nice collision here with jumping on teammates.
Because, aside from dialogue, a lot of things are just timed in some way, because it's Call of Duty, they like the cinematic things, they like, you know...
Yeah, there's quite a bit of downtime.
Is a good moment for some donations?
In a
little bit.
Seconds.
All right.
Yeah.
When we hop into the Humvee, there's a Humvee section, and there is absolutely nothing we can do there. So
right here.
There's a trigger on the stairs, and if you are able to hop up on top of the bridge, then you're able to get to the other side of the trigger and then hit it immediately. But if you're at the bottom of the stairs, you have to run like 2 meters which is a very small fraction of a second. If you hop on top.
Half a second because it skip saves.
Yeah.
So yeah, this should be a good time for donations.
All right. We've got a donation from Blue Target for $100 who says, Klooger, the COD speedrunning community is here rooting for you. Best of luck on the run. Go fast and don't get meleeed. Okay, thanks. And then we've got one from Papaya for $20 who says, I'm a dog and I don't understand what's going on, but I love you all, so here's my slightly chewed life savings. And then another one from Brit for $50, 5-year GDQ lurker, first time donating, wanted to say thank you to everyone working for GDQ and all the hard work y'all do behind the scenes. Call of Duty is one of my all-time faves, so many memories. Don't trust Shepard.
We've got about another minute here still.
All right. Then we've got another $10 from Anonymous who says, good luck with the run, hoping Shepard treats you well this time. And remember, and greetings from that one Finnish Call of Duty 4 runner. And then Not John donates $25 who says, hey Klooger, John here. While I can't stay around to watch your run on account of packing up to be moving soon, I wanted to wish you good luck on the run. The whole Discord is rooting for you, so don't forget to unbind your console commands. The whole Call of Duty community Discord is cheering you on. Put my donation towards the Kingdom Hearts speedrun because I love some level 1 speedruns.
So we're just about to approach the section where things start mattering again. There's a lot of enemies around here, like these guys. Quite a bit more hidden than I first realized when I first started playing the game. I didn't show up too many of them either.
But because it's just this side-scrolling thing, the enemies don't really matter too much. There is a little weird thing where if you go out of the level and then go back in and then advance forward to try and spawn all these enemies, it tries to force spawn too many and crashes the level.
Yeah, so the game can only support 32, I think, entities at once. So
yeah,
we use that a few times to run past groups of enemies and to get later sections with no spawns. Similar to what I think was used in the Doom speedrun just now to avoid spawning a boss, but we don't have any boss enemies in this game. So the only way I can really die here is if a car explodes on me. I think we're alright here. I don't see me on fire. Other than that, it's pretty safe.
One thing I will mention is in Blue Target's donation, he mentioned meleeing. And that's a bit of a big problem because although this is the recruit difficulty, which makes it really easy in terms of dealing with the enemies, then the melees still do like 80 damage and you have 100 health. So you get hit by one of them twice and you die. And because we're running past enemies, as you can see here, you run up, right next to them. If you get stuck, because the enemies have collision, they have very big collision. So if you get stuck in the middle of a group of enemies, they can just hammer down on you.
Exactly, and getting shot usually isn't too much of a problem on a low difficulty, but if you get melee first, then you're suddenly in a lot of trouble, and it can be hard to deal with sometimes. So that's the main thing to watch out for, really. That level went pretty well.
Yeah,
so now here's one of the few skips in the run, where we just walk straight past, so...
Yeah, the start of this level, you're on a cliff, trying to climb up the cliff face. And normally what you're supposed to happen here is that a little sequence happens, some jets fly over, Slope does some cool thing, and then he starts climbing up this cliff. And then you have to wait behind him while he does all that because, it's all cinematic and cool. But what we do here is there's actually enough ground in front of him to sneak around him. And then you have to interact with the wall for some reason. You don't have to do that normally, but if you want to do it manually ahead of him, you have to interact with the wall.
Also, you didn't need to put the hooks into the ice there for whatever reason. Got to slide down with your wrists.
Oh yeah, there are very small differences in the run on different difficulties. So on Veteran, if you don't dig your picks in there, just for a little bit, then you'll fall down. But on Recruit, everything is meant to be, easier. But they don't really have much room for changing the difficulties.
Yeah, And of course, in a stealth mission, we're just going to run through and start shooting everyone.
And a
That's how
random,
you go fast.
yeah, and a random fun thing about the stealth missions is they decided to make the player slower for some reason. So I think you're at about 80% speed normally.
Depends
And then
on
when
the
you,
kill, but yeah. So
yeah. Okay, because one thing that can kind of screw with a lot of strats here, actually, yeah. But yeah, the one thing that can kind of screw with a lot of strats is that lots of things are actually baked into levels instead of being baked into, you know, just more on a game logic level. So stealth, they have this stealth thing that you can put on all the levels, but then how the stealth actually works, how you interact with, you know, how enemies react to you, that's all baked into levels. So a skip that works on one level, just for whatever reason doesn't work on another level.
And sometimes it isn't a thing on this level, but quite often getting detected will make your teammates go to a faster movement state. So a couple of times that's the strategy, is to get detected on purpose and then move ahead. There's a couple of the later levels, you'll see that. Now of course, we're just going to stand out way in the open. No one's going to see us.
Well, it's supposed to be hiding there, but it doesn't really matter. There's just this big box around, and if you hit the box, then you get detected. But
Go to plan B.
and then coming up, we're going to be going down the hill, and hopefully so-called teleport, because there's this sort of rare thing where you won't teleport.
Got it. Yeah, so we don't know why he doesn't teleport sometimes, but he did that time, so we're fine. And we want to kill 3 of those hill people as fast as possible. Spawn these snowmobiles. And this one can kill you if you touch it in the wrong way, so I like to just stand on top here.
Yeah, one thing that people can get wrong there is if you're like pushing it right up against the snowmobile, because you're trying to, you know, mash the interact key to get on it, and it rocks to the side and just instantly kills you.
This helicopter can sometimes troll me, but I think we're in a good cycle right now. Not totally sure what changes its timing, but sometimes it just shoots at very inconvenient positions and does a lot of damage and boosts you. Which the boosts can be fast, but they can also just push you straight into a tree. So
yeah, most of the time it's consistent. It seems to be trying to, you know, aim a specific amount ahead of you, but sometimes it will just not do that. It will hit you, and you'll see sometimes the missiles will fly around in midair instead of just going straight.
yeah, it's very strange. Like that. There's a couple of them that just sort of hit some spirals. Oh my god, I'm getting turned around there. Had the other enemy snowmobiles running into me, sort of trying to spin me around. That'll happen sometimes too. So big, nice big cinematic jump here where everything explodes. Don't know why that blows up, but it does. And then we sort of take a shorter path to the helicopter here that saves about 1 second.
And then coming up next is No Russian.
And we just skip this level because that's an option in the game, basically.
Yeah, it's meant to be, you know, the controversial level, so they just have a little option for you to just skip the entire mission. We're not missing much there. The level is pretty boring to speedrun and pretty boring to watch.
It's basically
really
a
want
walking
to.
simulator. If you get down to speedrunning it, it's pretty much that.
Any side row has right-hand man.
And coming up here is a trick that for me is one of the hardest in the run, but most people don't have any problems with it. So we'll see if I get this or not.
It's also one of the coolest for people viewing. How simple it is. Normally what happens is there's meant to be this chase sequence. You have to like run after Rojas' right-hand man, and you're meant to like go down into the alley and then shoot him in the leg. And if you're really fast, you can jump around the corner, or you can just not run after him at all.
Oh, I got him.
This is going to take some time.
Yeah, so we just shoot him straight through the window.
Because as it turns out, the walls behind the hotel are completely wall bangable. So just skip all that. And then for the propeller sequences, there's nothing really too flashy going on here. However, it's very close quarters, and again, it's the same problems of the enemies have this collision that you can get caught on. There's lots of them around. Try to melee you.
Yeah, and the civilians get in the way, and if you kill one civilian, sort of 90% of the time it will fail you. Sometimes it won't. We don't really know why.
Good luck. Rush, watch the rooftops. We've had a few close calls with RPGs and machine guns.
Quick reload in there.
Boys, give me a sit rep. Over. Rush, fire through a hat. He's making a run for it.
And up here we want to look away to avoid some slow motion, again, cinematic stuff.
Yeah, what normally happens is when Soap dives out and pushes them onto the car, there's this little slow motion sequence going on. But there are a few things in this game that only happen when you're looking at them, so it just decides, oh, you're not looking at this. And you don't get to see the cool thing. So.
Now we've got one of the most complex levels coming up. Trying to explain as we do. But yeah, if you're getting into the speedrun, this is probably the most important level to learn properly. And lose you a lot of time. It's sort of, it's all fine until one thing goes wrong and it can really snowball out of control.
Funny enough, it's not too difficult in terms of trying to die or in terms of like executing things, but there's like a lot you have to like remember.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to be doing sort of, and yeah, I think it's more about consistency, because as soon as you do something wrong, everything else goes wrong. So once you really know it's less bad.
Yeah, but saying that, the first part of it is literally just going from A to B. You need to get to the roof of Nate. And this is the bit where the AI limit comes into play, because we have two sets of trucks that spawn. There's some trucks that spawn in the south, and they're the first ones that spawn. And then when 5 or less of those enemies are alive, then some trucks to the north will spawn. And then when 5 or less of those enemies are alive, then the level will carry on. But if you run through the level... Oh dear.
Yeah, this is looking scary now. I'm going to take a little bit wider path, hope I don't get shot. Could be fine.
Yeah, ideally you'll just go as quickly as you can, not kill any enemies, to keep as many people alive as possible. So when you get to the roof and trigger everything, when they try to spawn the trucks to the south, they will spawn 5 or less because, you know, they can't go above the 32 limit.
If you get unlucky, you'll still get one of the slower truck spawns, but it doesn't lose too much time if you know how to handle it. So I basically stay on the roof until I make sure I've got that dialogue that I'm waiting for. So we got lucky there and it all worked out as it should have.
We place the sentry there. It's not necessary, but for a future bit of the level, we have to clear out some waves, and there's a group that spawns at the bank, that is, yeah.
Yeah, the bank. It's just a bit of safety, because that group is the hardest to clear, the Predator missile.
Of the two groups that we spawn, of course.
Yeah.
Before spawn. But yeah, the enemies can like move in different ways, and you want to... We'll get to that later, but ideally you want to be killing all of them in one go, and the sentry just helps you get up. So yeah, we pick up the Predator missile, throw the 2 BTRs with 1 Predator missile for efficiency. But here we have loads of dialogue being stacked. So we have some free time to do the next objective, which is clearing out Burger Town.
And so I think we got that in time. We didn't lose any. Yep.
Because yeah, what's going on there is that when the stacked dialogue is over, we want to have cleared out Burger Town. So we have this time frame where we're just kind of free to do all that. And it can be a bit annoying because they can run out through doorways and kind of run away, so you have to check, and then there's little nooks and crannies. It can be very
The entire goal of the map here really is to just keep the entire map clear on top of all the enemy spawns. Using as many predators as possible. Got a bit unlucky here. If I do that correctly, then no one will spawn. But I ran out of ammo there. Take out the guys near me.
Because the thing with most Call of Duty, Call of Duty, but especially Modern Warfare 2 levels, is you're going from point A to point B. But Wolverine is you go to this area, and then it's this sort of like wave defense sort of thing. So it acts a bit differently, and we care more about killing enemies and caring about force spawns. Because here, in the Predator section, there are 3 places. Yeah. Because there are 3 places enemies can spawn. They don't spawn at the area we're closest to, and that's the gas station. That's a horrible spawn. We force spawn them at the taco joint, which is on the second one that we just hit, and the bank, which is the first one we hit, and alternate between them. But as you can see, there are 2 enemies still alive, because the bank can be a little bit annoying. So the sentry is there to help us kill them, because again, we want to have 5 or less enemies on the map in general for things to happen.
Here's a nice new skip that was found. You can take out the first helicopter with the Predator missile there. That saves about 15 seconds. Is the Stinger missile travels incredibly slowly. So we're going to take... It's going to spawn a second helicopter soon, and we'll take that out with the Stinger missile. Normally we'd have to go back and refill.
Yeah, because normally what we'd be doing here is using 2 Stinger missiles. We're sitting at the edge of the map because, again, the Stinger missile takes time to travel and the helicopters are so far away and the Stinger missile is so slow that it can take a while to actually destroy the helicopter. But if you use the Predator missile, you can destroy the helicopter basically as soon as it spawns. There's a random...
Sorry, what are you gonna say?
I think you understand it more than me.
Okay. Yeah, so there's a weird dialogue skip here that I do. I have a strange method for this, and I'm not sure exactly what is necessary, but I try and use my offline AGMs, and it delays this dialogue. And I move over here and delay one more piece of dialogue a little bit. If I did it correctly, I could skip a line entirely. Oh, it didn't work, actually. Anyway. I think I did that a little too early.
Because yeah, you have these 2 Foley lines at the end, and again, timing based on dialogue, so if you can skip some of the dialogue, you can go faster. And ideally, if you do that correctly, you get to skip the first piece of Foley dialogue.
Yeah, where he tells Ramirez to get to the convoy, that would have been skipped. That lost about 4 seconds.
Ramirez, skip the dialogue.
So we've got the second favela mission here. There's another quite risky one, getting meleeed.
And technically it's also fairly simple, it's just going from A to B. There's a build thing in the middle, but at least for the recruit category, which is what basically everyone does, it's more about movement, which feels a bit weird to say because it's not, you know, like movement where you're bunny hopping or like flying around abusing physics. But especially with maps like this, you're really relying on trying to move through the map as cleanly as possible and as fast as possible.
And also having good movement will make it more likely to get through these enemies without getting shot too much, because obviously the less time you spend near them, the less damage they can do.
And also an interesting thing about the enemies is that they have this sort of like setup sequence, so they'll spawn, they'll have this sort of like animation, or they're focused on getting to a piece of cover, and when they're doing that, they don't care about you. So the faster you are, the less time you spend where they're actually thinking, hey, I should shoot this person. So for the majority of enemies, you've already gone past them when they're thinking, hey, I should shoot this dude.
We're going to skip a little sequence of climbing up the stuff here by just jumping on that door as he opens it.
Normally what happens is you're supposed to kill all the enemies, your teammates clamber up, and then they pull you up.
We get unlucky here. I didn't get that dialogue. Here we go. Normally we would be able to go through and just jump off right away, but that was a little bit unlucky.
Because there is 8 enemies that spawn there, and that dialogue happens when you kill 6 of them. So we kill 4 on the roof, and then we hope that our teammates get through them. Usually they do.
Yeah, the last 4 spawn quite a bit later, so waiting to take them out ourselves would take a lot more time, and it works probably 90% of the time or more without having to slow down. But sometimes it can go wrong.
Then we have the rooftop sequence. There's a cool little thing you can do when you get out of the map. Probably one of the only cool little things you can do. Not much to say there. With the ladder jump, it's a bit weird because you want to jump earlier than normal, but then you would intuitively think you'd need to. So you can like go right to the edge of the ledge, jump towards the ladder, and just fall because for some reason the level prioritizes you jumping earlier. So you can jump before the ledge, land on the edge, and then it'll throw you towards the ladder.
This is a pretty notorious level for runners. It's one of the easiest to play through. Very safe, just run past everyone. But we're entirely reliant on waiting for our teammates to catch up at the end, because they don't move quite as quickly as we do.
Yeah, in terms of the logic for this level, it's fairly simple. There's like 4 steps you need to complete. There's, to enter the safe room at the end of the level, then technically not the, then Foley has to enter the safe room at the end of the level. Foley tells you to pick up the briefcase, you pick up the briefcase. So everything else you're doing here, you're just trying to run through the level to force your allies to like run behind you. And also it will despawn enemies, so your allies don't get distracted and they'll run more.
Yeah, so the faster you can move through the level, generally the better it's going to be. Despawning everyone. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of waiting around at the end. Although it's a bit of a complicated trick as well. That we can do at the end here. Save a couple of seconds.
Yeah, because for the steps to complete the level, the second one isn't Foley needs to enter the safe room, it needs to put a goal on the map. And these goals can be anything like, getting, like a goal in terms of his AI, so like getting into cover or reaching like a certain special point on the map. And normally at that point, it's going to be, this special point is going to be a safe room. But if you go backwards through the map, you can set it so that your allies, but it's not set it like it's a thing in the level. You go backwards through the map, and your allies won't move up without you because
they try and stay with you basically.
Yeah.
So if we go behind, they'll just stop and take cover.
And they will like stop at these special points. So you go back through the level, and Foley gets to this special point, which for us is going to be a little bit after the bridge.
So we're basically running back here to check his position, and we're going to time when we leave based on where he is, so that he hits that spot right where we want.
Yeah, the reason why timing is important is because when you enter the safe room, for some reason Foley just walks the entire way. Because normally he'll be, he jogs, and when he goes inside areas, he walks. But if you enter the safe room, he only walks. So if you accidentally enter the safe room while trying to do it normally, you can lose a lot of time. But that also means when you want to go back through the level and then make him go to his special point on the hill, if you do it too early, he will be walking to that special point. So you have to time it so that when you make it, so when you run back through the level and then he goes, I don't want to run to the safe room, I want to run to this hill. You want to get to that point right when Foley is above that point. So as you saw there, he tells you to pick up the briefcase, and then you can run back and then pick up the briefcase. And it's all a little bit complicated, but it's fairly easy in execution, and it saves like 5 seconds. I mean, it depends on how fast you move. The faster you can move, the more time you save.
Yeah, so the ending part alone is based on how quickly you can run up there. That was quite fast though, the 3:48. Reference, people who know the timings on that. This is another good spot for donations, but have any of those?
Yes. So we've got a $25 donation from the Call of Duty squad who says, "Hey Klooger and RedDagger, so happy to see 2 of our favorite runners in community together for presenting Call of Duty at a GDQ event. We love you guys, and we hope everyone watching enjoys the fun in this run. With love, your friends in the Call of Duty squad." And then we've got a $5 dono from Yarby, who says, another $5 if you get Gulag Stairs skip first try. And then a $200 donation, which says, greetings from the Speedrunners from Hell community. Good luck on the run, Klooger. We're hoping to see a world record this run. Sweat on mode activated. And then we've got a $676 donation from A Money Mouse, who says, longtime watcher, first time donator, finally got back on my feet this year. And then another $100 donation from Diedrich, who says, did I wake up at 4 a.m. to watch this run? Absolutely. Do I regret it? Hell no, this is awesome. Greetings from Germany and thanks for everything you're doing. Time for a couple more?
Yep. 1 or 2.
Great. We've got a $500 donation from Trace that says, thanks for finding a way to keep the event going in hard times. I don't work in medicine, but I'm sure a lot of us with essential jobs are grateful for the opportunity to relax after we get home. Best of luck to all the runners. And another $200 donation from Dinner, which says, much love to GDQ and MSF. It's an honor to give back as a community.
In position. Let's take them out together. On your go.
And we've got another $250 donation from Blurg, who says, always love to see speedrunning communities doing so much for charity. Best of luck to the runners.
Yeah, now we start the level. That. So we need to shoot this guy up here, and then do some bridges. This is one of the shortest actual gameplay levels. Quite a lot of cutscene at the beginning and end.
Yeah, one thing you'll notice with quite a few of the levels in Call of Duty in general is you'll have some gameplay sandwiched between these cinematic things.
That is where hipfire being inaccurate can be a problem. I hit a hostage just from... So when you aim down sights with a weapon here, the hipfire radius decreases over sort of about half a second. So I rushed out a little bit too much. It hit us brilliant. But yeah, we want to clear that out as quickly as possible to get all this dialogue started.
Okay, move upstairs. Control, we're advancing to...
But yeah, as you can well see from that breach, this level introduces the breaching, and there are 3 on this level. And the criteria for entering a breach is that there are no enemies within a certain radius, which can be a bit annoying because for 2 parts of the game. Yeah. Because it means you have to clear out some enemies if you want to try to do the breach, because obviously you want to do the breach as quickly as possible. And also, a random little thing, there's a slowdown for the breach, which you can skip if you like switch to anything else, like throw a grenade or whatever.
Yeah, detected a little bit late there. This is also a very risky level. We're running past enemies, as you could see just there. It was pretty close to going wrong. So we're basically just going to throw some flashbangs and try and run past.
Yeah,
I want to kill as few as possible.
This is one of the only levels where we actually basically have to rely on flashbang to get locked into space. It's very tight, huge amounts of enemies.
I could have a few more here than I would have liked to, but this should be fine.
Because as before with the AI limit, if you can get knocked during later on.
See that one?
Unless they're forced. Yeah, that was very cool.
That last one can go very badly wrong because there's so much smoke around there. If you don't clear everyone out right away and get to the breach, you can just lose the enemies in the smoke and spend quite a while searching for them.
There's also an interesting quirk on this level where, from the second breach, there are hostages waiting to be taken away. But if you don't look at them, they don't get taken away. And there's a helicopter that spawns in the map that shoots you, and also shoots teammates. And sometimes Soap can be with hostages, and the helicopter will shoot Soap, who's hiding behind the hostage, and you'll get a mission failed screen, which is some hostages for exit, even though you're not doing a breach or anything, because hostages are in a breach section.
Luckily, I've actually never had that happen to me, so that could have been a neat. I've never seen that before. This is probably one of the hardest levels coming up. Which one of the donations read get stair skip first try? One of the coolest skips in the run. We'll see if I can get it. It's very hard to do, but we get a bunch of tries at it before it starts losing time. But if I do it, I'll be able to show off some nice out of bounds as well.
Good dog. Fox 3, Fox 3.
But it only saves about 10 seconds though. Because like we said, the games are so built so stably that we can't really skip as much as we would want to be able to.
Yes, there's a kind of known out of bounds skip here where you can crawl under a fence and just drop down and go right on ahead. But the wind breaking here in Call of Duty King, not too easy.
So we basically use the skip to, one half of it is clearing out some enemies so that we can run through more quickly beforehand. And one part is just cutting out a small running section. But we can't actually sequence break really.
Oh, it's these sniping sections. That you have 2 towers of enemies. First tower to kill 3 enemies. The second tower you only need to kill 2 enemies that spawn in a little hut, which is behind the anti-air gun.
Line up a little wall bang there and get them right as they spawn. And so this next section here as well, I'm going to be running through and clearing out enemies, but I'm going to be waiting on my teammates to follow behind me. So this isn't super important to do very quickly. I just need to do it fast enough.
Yeah, unfortunately, in quite a few Call of Duty games, you have sections which are timed. But they have the little cliche of your teammates opening doors for you, so everything's timed based on that. Fortunately, Modern Warfare 2 and a few other by this older Call of Duty, it's more prominent, which so not too fussed about that. But it does mean you can get some when your execution is pretty flawless. You're waiting and you're like hoping entirely that your teammates will pass. Give it.
Sometimes they can drop a troll grenade there, but that's why I was taking that really slow.
Yeah, the enemy on the right really likes throwing grenades. Grenades are bad because they can kill you. And
grenades will literally roll uphill at you if you're unfortunate enough. Pretty impressive how they do that. And so now we're just waiting on our teammates to catch up and open the doors for us.
Yeah, one of the problems with grenades, is that your allies will run away from them. Sometimes they can have very lengthy animations of running away from them. That comes useful later on, but most of the time, be very annoying.
Here I'm going to try and push Soap through a wall, which saves almost no time at all. You can also get him stuck if it goes wrong. Sometimes he doesn't like to cooperate. It's looking like he's not going to cooperate this time either. It's not too big of a deal if we don't get this.
Yeah, that's one of those things which is sort of like dependent on the level. Sometimes you can push your allies around. Sometimes they push you around. Not very consistent, I can tell today.
So here's stair skip coming up just soon, and we'll see if I can hit this. I would say it's definitely the hardest skip in the game, but the fact that we can attempt it multiple times makes it a little easier.
What you're basically reliant on is there's a tiny little slope of geometry, and you want to hit it so that you go higher than you normally can, because obviously your jumps are fixed height. If you can transfer a little bit of your horizontal velocity into vertical velocity, then you can go just high enough to get back up the stairs again. Because
this section, I want to clear out people as quickly as possible, so I still have a couple of attempts at the stair skip, but I'm not going to save much time if I get it. Oh, there we go. That was actually going to be my last try before I gave up. I don't even know if this is going to save time anymore, but we will get the shot cool out of bounds. It can be quite risky. Yeah, I didn't even gain time. They opened the door already. So never mind. We won't get to see this.
But it did look cool.
So you'll go through this little section behind me here and fall out of bounds back there. But the door there closes if you get there too late.
Man
The
down.
camera feed in solitary confinement is dead. The power must be down in the station.
Roger that. Squad,
Getting blocked in there. It's not great. Yeah, that's also a very risky area. Luckily I didn't get meleeed.
I mean, just a random thing about that. You saw him probably getting stunned very quickly and then throwing a flash because the flash can override the stun. And when you're stunned, you can't sprint. The flash is quicker, easier. So
This is another very dangerous area. For another flash. Hope we don't get. So if you get shot, it sort of gives you a recoil on your crosshair. So if you get shot at the wrong time as you're trying to shoot that grenade launcher, you can miss, and then it can go very badly wrong very quickly.
yeah, the aim punch in this game can be quite painful. I mean, on higher difficulties, it gets to very, very silly levels. But you have some things which are reliant on, you know, throwing a flashbang, hitting a grenade launcher shot, and so the aim punch can just knock you off just enough to completely screw you over.
It's usually not too much of a problem with regular guns, but when you have those sort of one-shot, very powerful grenade launchers or things like that, it can really mess you up. So here I'm going to try and run ahead of my teammates, which can be quite difficult. I need Soap to be fast, which he's a little bit. I might make it here. Oh, I didn't. So they really like to just block you, even if I did actually make it in front there. No, I didn't. See, Soap just run up behind me and clip straight ahead. But if I can get ahead earlier, that will save a couple seconds by making them turn around more quickly. But I had sort of the worst speed Soap there. So if Soap was really slow at the beginning of that section, he would be further behind and I could have got ahead earlier. Or if he was just really quick, I could have got ahead right away. But that was just a bit unfortunate.
Because, yeah, that's one example of game being a little arbitrary. Earlier you could push Soap around, and then Soap pushes you around.
Is a nice little out of bounds that I'm not going to be able to get. I'm very bad at making this little jump, but it doesn't save time, so that's fine. I don't need to be good at that trick.
do something. Do it fast.
Then we just get the ending cinematic sequence. We have to run up to the rope, interact with the rope. The game theory is
Let's go. Hook up. Go, go. Bring it on.
next level is going to be of their own accord, which doesn't start off as cinematic, which is very nice. It's just more movement based. We have to get to Crow's Nest.
The movement through the very beginning here is quite a hassle. You have to crouch as you jump every time, or you're just going to bump into sort of all of the slow ceiling here.
Yeah, a weird thing about this game is that they haven't like smooth over collisions that much. So a lot of the time games will have, say, the stairs, for example, which in terms of their collision, they're just a perfectly smooth ramp. But here, they're just, jagged stairs that can really annoying to run up. And that obviously applies to all the random objects that are caught on.
These stairs are very slow because of that. I don't know if you can see really how much it was just stuttering up those stairs because it was running up the jagged steps.
Overlord copies all. Roger. Brigade Combat Team 1 is already sealed off an LAV to provide suppression. Over.
Oh, I did not get to reload that. Yeah, so that can happen. I picked up a gun with not too much ammo. So I should have held back a little more there and reloaded it.
Yeah,
Now I
generally
picked up the gun and it's got more shots, so that was easy.
Yeah, generally we don't try to rely too much on picking up weapons because sometimes they can fly away, and you're looking for them because the enemy, when they ragdoll, they just threw the weapon somewhere. Also, the ammo counts can be not very helpful.
Southwest corner of the 5th floor are hammering the evac site. Over. Overlord. We're on the 5th floor. Proceeding to the southwest corner. Solid copy over. We are optimized to the 5th floor. Out. I got movement.
So we basically want to clear out this crow's nest as fast as possible.
Copy that, 2-1.
Start planting some claymores for future spawns. Because later on there'll be
Move forward and clear it out.
there's a bunch of dialogue here where nothing we do matters for a little while, and then we'll spawn a group of enemies right on top of all of these claymores. Instantly progress to the next island.
Position over.
Because yeah, we're done with the movement section where the crow's nests. Now we're doing some defensive stuff. We just have to complete some basic objectives. Not really too complicated, but
So you need to take out at least 4 snipers there.
Be advised you have
This next
enemy
section
foot
happens.
mobiles converging on your position. Stay frosty. Hunter 2-1,
can see everyone got taken out immediately.
See a massive foot mobiles converging on your position.
we delay shooting the javelin on the vehicle because we only need the vehicle to be destroyed after the objective.
After this dialogue right here.
And we initially aimed for the APCs, I guess they are, because they're consistent. Those 3 APCs always spawn, but then we shoot the helicopter last. It's closer to us. The javelin will travel to it faster and shoot it down faster and complete that objective faster.
And we'll have some time for donations coming up in just a moment. There's this helicopter right up here. Nothing you do matters. You pretty much just sit and wait for it to be over.
Get this. A random fact about the music. For some reason, a lot of people think that Hans Zimmer composed the entire soundtrack, but he composed just the main theme. So with songs like this, it's someone different. Doesn't credit. I don't know who they are. Not being helpful there, but
Yeah, so here's a good spot for donations.
Civilian transports is away. Reaper 2, proceed with second stage evacuation. Litter urgent personnel only. Overlord! Dagger 2-2 hit going down! RPGT's at the World War II Memorial. Pull that trigger so they don't get up. Atlas 2-3, 2-4, and 2-5 are all away. Ground units at LZ-4, fall back now. Enemy gunship lifted on 12 o'clock. Memorial.
that was a little unfortunate because this is pretty much an auto-scroller. Yeah, lots of people shooting at you, but even on veteran, none of this matters in terms of
Yeah, you can just,
or
even
even
on
dying.
veteran, you just don't take damage. So we just sit here and wait for the whole cutscene to play out. After this section, the next level is another pretty important level to get right. There is a soft lock that we don't totally understand, kind of do, but I think I'll just wait for that level to come up before I start explaining it, or else I might just get lost.
One thing you should pay attention to, just because it's funny, is when you're in the wreckage, someone will like lean over, hand you a gun. Pay attention to their face, what they're wearing, because this game randomly generates like the non-important allies as well as the enemies. And the names it gives them, I believe, are all names of Modern Warfare 2 developers as well, which is just a random fun fact. But yeah, because of this random generation, you can get parts of levels where they'll be like the same person, but they're a different model, they're a different name, because it's really painful.
Yeah, and this section doesn't matter either. You can't take damage here. Sort of sit and wait for this to play out.
And although this entire thing is going to play out again at the start of the level after contingency, it's actually a different level, just set exactly the same. Make it look continuous.
So here's a level where, at the beginning here, it's supposed to be stealthy, but getting detected will make Price move more quickly. So I'm going to get detection on purpose. Oh,
Copy that. The rest of the team landed near Ghost. Pretty far.
Because yeah, you can kind of think of this level split into two sections. You have trying to get to the base,
gun
which is
vanished.
the
I threw
Yeah.
an AK Grenadier, which is a really lucky drop there, but then it just sort of evaporated.
yeah. I was thinking about trying to pick up weapons. It's very temperamental for no reason. But yeah, so it's
You don't want that car to catch fire because Price will see it and not run past it if it's on fire. I had to blow that up as quickly as possible.
oh yeah, because like the main point of this level from the speedrunning perspective is getting Price to the submarine as quickly as
Yeah.
possible.
So what? When we hit a point up here, Price will start sprinting. So getting there quickly is important. But most of all, like moving him up as fast as possible is more important than anything else. And there is a soft lock that can happen on this level, which I believe happens if you run into this forest before clearing out all the previous enemies. But I have seen it happen once without doing that, so we're not totally sure
It'll be fine.
of that. But
We'll be
yes,
fine.
It will be. I haven't had it happen when I do it this way. So
And then this forest section is, at least in terms of the geometry, is the same as the Speckles mission evasion.
A UAV loaded with
Yeah,
ATMs
why
is
not?
on
and none of the movement there really matters because I mean getting through there more quickly will give me more time in the final area, but
I was like, oh my
it's really just
gosh.
based on how quickly Price can move up through the level,
All right.
which is
Because yeah,
quite often based on how well you do in the game.
once we've done this section getting to the base, then the thing we're concerned about is trying to clear the enemy so that Price will move.
Take them out. That got their attention.
That's
The whole base
unfortunate.
is on the way.
Usually you don't get shot
Better
there.
hurry.
I'm still
We've got
getting
a couple
shot.
of minutes before that submarine dives.
Okay. This could actually go very badly wrong. Oh, okay. Starting to heal now, so I should be fine. I don't want to go that way. BTR is there.
Normally what we do is we destroy both the helicopter and the BTR.
Yeah, so they're going to blow off when I get further ahead here. This is not going well. I don't know
But
where
yeah,
the BTR is right there. Oh, I blew myself up. This is bad. I'm just going to sort of wait here and heal a bit. Helicopter will blow off when I move forward. So usually the BTR will get blown up every time. But I was getting shot in the back quite a bit there. I'm trying to use the Predator missile. That did not go very well.
As you can see, there on recruit, we can tank a lot of damage and really matter that much. You still have to care, especially when you have this many enemies like pointing at you.
Yeah, this went a lot more messy than it would normally go. Normally I'd run through figuring out enemies, but they were all not in normal positions because of what happened there. So we just need to take out these trucks. The entire goal here is really to make the final area clear so that Price can move through. That truck stopped all the way back there.
The only thing we need to do for this, for like this section, is destroy the 2 sets of timed vehicles that spawn. But it's a lot more useful to try and kill all the enemies because we're trying to escort Price, and Price will like sometimes stop to shoot enemies or do some really cool cinematic kill animation, and we really don't want him to do that.
So the entire map is clear. Now what we want to do is leave so that we don't hear any of this dialogue playing out. That will save quite a bit of time.
Yeah, this is something which doesn't really seem to happen anywhere else in the game, but if you are a certain distance away from Ghost, his lines will just be skipped completely, because normally and the people in the game, they will have dialogue happening over the radio, and if you're too far away, or happening in the radio or in person, if you're too far away, you can't hear maybe you can't hear the dialogue, but it still plays. some reason in this bit, you're too far away. It not only can you not hear it, it just skips it entirely. And because again, dialogue based, time save. Yeah.
So this level is probably a good spot for donations. It's just going to replay the ending of the previous level.
Great. Sorry about last time. I did my own speed run of resetting my router. So, first up, we've got $5 from Price, who says, Ramirez, donate $5 to MSF. And then we've got $200 from Maple, who says, first-time donator, had to save it for the game that got me through my teens. Also, the game that ruined my ability to trust anyone in a mustache again. Then we've got another $200 donation from the Cyberhook speedrunning community. Hey, Klooger, good luck on the run. We're all rooting on you. We're all rooting you on. Let's hope you can destroy this game like you've destroyed all our records in Cyberhook. Patronos, Todos, and Cyberhook speedrunning community. And then we've got another $200 donation from Nitsumi, who says, Ramirez, hold A to charge your lasers. And then we've got a $5 donation from Bakuman, who says, from all the Call of Duty speedrun community on Discord, Klooger, we wish you the best for your run. Ramirez, we need more info about Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. And then we've actually got a completely anonymous, no comment, $2,000 donation.
Ooh. Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
And then we've got a $5 donation from Anonymous, who says, first time donating and first time watching the event. Felt like I had to donate for such a great cause and great event. Definitely gonna be an event I'm excited to watch for years to come. Then we've got a $100 donation from Yamaj, who says, props to the runners and event staff for making this event possible in such a difficult time. Keep doing what you do. Donation goes to Runner's Choice.
ISS Houston, stand by. We may have a problem here.
Then we've got one more. We've got a donation for $250 from Flip, who says, doing my part to help Doctors Without Borders and to support all the amazing runners. And another one from Staghouse for $50, who says, here's $50. Thank you to my lovely wife for reminding me to donate. And a $200 donation from Paul, who just says, cool.
I think we're back into the gameplay now.
All right.
What the hell's going on? Get off the street now! Go!
It's just a little bit of running around and waiting for teammates and cutscenes to play out.
And the section with all like the things falling from the sky is kind of funny because if you look up, you notice that all the objects are just spawned in the sky and just slowly falling down. And then right at the top, you have a spinning helicopter, which is like following your every move. And that's the helicopter that crashes in the corner of the building. Which also means that if right at the very last second, you then run outside again, you can be on the other side of the invisible barrier because, you know, why not?
What the hell was that? They're here.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, this level does start a little slow since it's meant to be this cinematic-y thing because, hey, this EMP went off and did some realistic things. So there's after these doors, there are two doors where there's a group of enemies that spawn behind them, but they'll spawn before we have to run through, so we're able to like start killing them early because just to make things easier on us.
And yeah, I ran ahead here, but it didn't really matter. I could have stayed with the same speed. This guy's gonna spawn in here and open the door for us.
Star! Or we will fire on you! I don't remember the damn countersign, alright? I'm just a runner. Don't shoot!
The proper response is Texas, soldier. What do you got?
Colonel Marshall's assembling
So once this little section is over, everyone will spawn in this. We don't want to kill too many though. If we do that, it will pull through a lot more people from the next room. That just makes it a lot more difficult to get through. So just sort of clear out the path we're going to take. They'll just sit in their positions. Well, it's time to go.
Yeah, the enemies get sort of confused because sometimes you get them like shooting a few shots at you, and then they'll stop because hey, they're supposed to be hiding in cover. When the
If I
dude
die,
gets
if I get meleeed and die here, it's one of the bigger run killers because the checkpoint system in this game is not very good. So we have to wait through a lot of that scene again. That one time. It's sometimes can be very hard to deal with because the enemies will act very random. But that time they all sort of just ran out and stood in my way.
Because yeah, the autosave for that section is like 40 seconds behind. So when you're trying to save, you know, like 10, 20 seconds, losing 40 seconds can be pretty bad.
Then again, here we've got to wait for our teams to catch up and open this door for us. And I wonder if anyone can find a way to clip through here, but we don't know anything right now because the end of the level trigger is just right in there. And the next level coming up has the biggest skips in the game. Probably the biggest.
Yeah, Whiskey Hotel is like an actually cool level. As you know, because this one is a bit, yeah. I should just probably start explaining that now. So Whiskey Hotel, which is, you know, the White House, we need to make our way up to the West Wing. And normally what happens is, you know, like Foley will walk up to a Conal, I think he is, do some long dialogue, and then walk with you to the West Wing, then do some animation done, opens the door, and you can go through the level. However, if you get to the West Wing before Foley talks to the Colonel.
So I'm throwing a grenade there to make Foley run away from it and take cover. So basically trying to slow him down as much as possible.
Yeah, so the idea is to slow Foley down as much as possible, and make you go as fast as possible, like, you know, the movement, and trying to just kind of rush to the West Wing. Because if you do that, he'll teleport to the West Wing, and then do that animation, and open the door. Instead, like
Actually,
before,
when we go too quickly, this might work. Ah, so we got unlucky there. That timing can work, but Foley's, again, a little bit random with how he runs away from the grenades and all that stuff. So this is still going to save time. It's not going to save as much time. It basically works the same way as the full skip, but Foley will enter a walking state instead of a running state, which loses about 20 seconds. So we get into full skip.
and then this bit where you're like running, you know, from the door opening to this last bit can be very painful because there are a lot of enemies. And again,
I did almost
very
get melee
cramped.
there, but luckily made it through. So yeah, if I had gotten the full skip, basically Foley would be sprinting through this section, and we'd be through the door right now.
For all the things Ramirez can do, he can't open doors.
Get to the room! Move!
30 seconds to weapons release.
30 seconds! We gotta get to the room! Go! Go!
Although that changes finally in Modern Warfare, the rebooted version in 2019. You can open doors. It's amazing.
Really, I haven't actually played that game. That sounds revolutionary. This game would be so much faster if you could open doors for yourself.
Not soon enough, man. I know we're gonna burn it down when we get there.
When the time when the
There's a random fun fact about this section. When you have that flare in your hand, if you run back and then pick up a weapon, it just crashes the level because the game just can't handle that.
Snipers in position.
Strike team go. Engage marker up on site.
Roger that. Solid copy.
Let's go. Let's go.
So for the starting bit of loose ends, we're going to be wanting to make our way over to the house. And
So that flashbang will let me, it ends the stun animation that, wait, I have never died to an RPG there. That's interesting.
you weren't supposed to say that.
I was not supposed to say that, but it happened. We can go a bit further forward here. This should be good. Okay, but that's how that's supposed to go.
The idea is just get as fast as possible with that random little ambush sequence. And you have to breach the house.
Roger. Firing javelin. Danger close.
So this
And
house
clear.
breaching is, yeah, you have to clear everyone out, and it's, it can sometimes cause a lot of time if your teammates leave a few too many enemies away.
Vehicles have been neutralized. Be advised, we have not, I repeat, we have
It's
not spotted
you can never be sure which enemies your teammates are going to go after.
trucks may have been decoyed.
So we have sort of a set amount we take out. And then just hope the teammates handle the 2 or 3 we leave. But sometimes they miss a few.
A random thing
Right
about-
here. But yeah, this slow motion breach is not skippable like all the others. So we just use that to get to this next door. And we'll skip this next slow motion entirely. Not sure why that one can't be skipped, but it just can't because reasons, I guess. I think that's everyone. No. Yeah, I see. Usually the teammates would go up there and take that guy out.
All clear. Squad, regroup on me.
Scarecrow.
And you hope for Ghost to get to the entrance of the house. And then he says his line. And then we begin the defense section,
Any luck in Afghanistan?
which unfortunately is just a time defense of the house. You know, set everything up, the dialogue plays. Place the DCM, then you have 5 minutes of various spawning enemies.
Copy that.
Yeah, so some people might think when you're new to playing the game, you might think that the download here is a random speed because it shows varying random speeds, but it's always 5 minutes.
That's the idea.
Bit over 5
Bring
minutes.
up an extraction force ETA 5 minutes. Get that intel. Shepard out.
So yeah, the general idea for this section is just to make it as easy as possible to defend, because
On my way.
the enemies can
Task force, this is Price.
destroy the DCM, which, you know, obviously that's the mission. And also, you know, when we finish the defense, then run out, we want the enemies to be, you know, out of our way so we can just run to the end as quickly as possible.
To keep us from leaving with this intel. We need to protect the DSM until the transfer's done. Use the weapons caches and set up.
If I do that right, I can go that little ledge, get on the roof. It doesn't really do anything.
Ready to engage.
Just gonna try and shoulder.
They're dropping in more troops.
But yeah, in terms of the actual defense, the enemies are sort of random in terms of what spawns, but there's like fixed types of spawns. So if you have enemies dropping west of the house, that means there's going to be one helicopter dropping enemies. There's going to be a little bird like landing. So that means we can sort of plan for it. Clearly didn't do it here, but if you want to, you can set claymores, you know, while you're waiting for everything, and they'll just spawn and kill enemies.
Roger that. Everyone cover the field to the southeast. Move. I got eyes on. Here they come.
And in terms of the helicopters, you can shoot them down. For some reason, they have this like weird time of invincibility for whatever reason, but you can shoot the helicopters down, and that will kill all the enemies inside. And then aside from that, we're just picking off enemies that spawn. And again, because of, you know, AI limit,
Yeah,
the
and
next groups won't spawn unless we kill some amount of the earlier groups.
And it isn't really necessary to clear these, it will still finish in the same amount of time, so killing them faster or slower isn't actually that important. Just like to do it to keep it clear.
Good moment for some donations.
Yeah, it could be. A few minutes of just this going on.
All right. There's a $5 donation from Anonymous who says, all right, these Ramirez memes in chat have been going non-stop since the start of the run, and I can't get enough of them. Keep it up, chat. Then we've got a $10 donation from Lynn who says, second year trying to offer my support best I can. Really glad we had a GDQ with the pandemic. Cheers from Spain. And then a $10 donation from Dashi who says, GDQ has always inspired me to help others. It may not be a big donation, but during hard times like these, every dollar helps. Let's make a big difference together. Thank you for all the hard work from the runners, announcers, watchers, donors, and all those behind the scenes to make this happen. Much love to you all. A $250 donation from Jason who says, keep on keeping on. And a donation for $200 again from Fallen Tenchi who says, thanks for running this event. Having a blast. Then another donation for $75 who said, just got paid, so I'm donating for another GDQ event. Good luck to all the runners. And a $256 donation from Anonymous who says, hype. We've also got a $25 donation from JNP who says, go Summer GDQ. Please stay safe, everybody. Wear your masks and stay gaming. We got a $25 donation from King who says, can't watch the marathon live because I'm at work, but this marathon is hype. Let's go. Then a $25 donation from Muffins who says, first time catching a GDQ live and wanted to commend the occasion with a donation. Good luck to the runners and have fun.
So there's usually going to be a few stragglers. Oh, sorry.
You go ahead.
Donation. Yeah, there's usually going to be a few stragglers around here, but it doesn't matter too much.
360 no scope.
Yeah.
Come on.
If I can find one. Actually, I have no idea where this guy is.
Tango down.
There we go.
Very nice.
Now we're just gonna
Yeah,
wait
I guess.
a few seconds left. And then basically just run to the end.
Yeah, we still have a bit of gameplay to go. Then there's going to be a nice cinematic section at the end where Ghost dies.
Spoilers.
He's called Ghost because he died.
This is Shepard. We're almost at the LZ. What's your status? Over.
We're on our way to the OZ. Road, let's go!
Yeah, a random thing about this section, when the mortars start coming down, is it's actually timed. So it's kind of infamous and veteran because people will be sort of stuck in this situation where like they keep just dying for whatever reason, and that happens because it auto saves a checkpoint while their timer is really low. So no matter what you do, you literally can't complete the mission. It's great.
Best checkpoint system.
And then a random fact about this bit where Ghost dies. When Shepard shoots you and then shoots Ghost, who dies, for whatever reason, the sound the revolver makes is different. So if you pay attention to him shooting you and then shooting Ghost, who dies, they're just completely different weapons. For no reason.
Completely different.
F's in chat, obviously. This is Call of Duty after all. But yeah, this is just going to be some kind of long cinematic section where, you know, Ghost dies. So I guess donations will be okay here.
I don't really like all this talk about Ghost dying, but we've got a $10 donation from Jerf, who says, keep the trains going to meet all the incentives. We've got a $25 donation from Fuya, who says, another GDQ and another awesome job. With everything going on in the world, it's so great to have such a positive event to rally around. Thanks for all the work the runners and staff put in to make this event such a success. And big thank you to Doctors Without Borders for all the amazing work you do to make the world a better place. And then we've got a $231 donation from Marler, who says, thanks to everyone who made this event happen in a year when so many events are canceled. I've long enjoyed Games Done Quick, and this year, Doctors Without Borders is more important than ever. We've got a $30 donation from Mr. Alex, who says, I always forget that when GDQ is, and I always get super excited when I notice that it's back. Loving the run so far and can't wait to see more.
And here we have probably the easiest level, aside from the tutorial, but this level is pretty much just run to the end. And for some reason, the bad guys just don't really seem to shoot at you very much.
I'm not sure if that was just me, but I think your mic got a bit weird there. But yeah, this is a really simple level, just going from A to B. It's almost a straight line, and it's kind of funny because there's a few random little tricks, random out maps, things you can do. None of that matters. Straight line, B line to the end. You have this random car sequence, and then at the end of the car sequence, you have to drive the car into a plane, except you don't. It automatically goes in for you because it's Call of Duty, not a driving game.
So yeah, none of this section really matters. You always get shot by a helicopter later on, which will take you down to like 2 HP. It is possible to die there, but it's very rare. So yeah, mostly you can kind of just sit and wait. Take out these guys usually, just to be sure.
Sorry, the mic cut out for a second. Did you say donations?
Oh, no I did.
Sorry.
But am I good now? And this next level is one of the most difficult for new runners to get used to. It's quite a few things you have to do right, especially being the last area for the breach. This first section again is supposed to be stealthy, so we're going to get detected on purpose.
So for picking up a thermal spike up ahead, the cave must be somewhere over the edge.
Quick 360 quick scope
Enemy
here.
patrol. Ultraviolet. Looks like Makarov's intel was solid. They're onto us. Go loud. So these aren't your average Muppets. No more mistakes. Let's go.
So yeah, I just left that guy alive until I got detected, and our price should move up fairly quickly.
Here we go. Look up here.
Disciple 4, Oxide, what's your status? Over. Disciple 4, Oxide, do you copy? Over.
Go.
Hey, I'm not getting any Disciple.
There are two bits in this level where if you look away from the enemies, they all just, not despawn, they all just die and fall over. So coming up, there'll be a bit where we're going up the stairs, and so we just look away at the bottom of the stairs, and everyone will just instantly ragdoll. But yeah, up till the breach section, it's kind of just a sort of standard run past enemies sort of thing.
It just falls over. That's going to happen again. It's next doorway. Although there tends to be a couple left alive here, so it can be a little riskier.
Riot shield. We'll need cover out here.
Oxide, Avatar 1, we have unauthorized personnel on the catwalk. I repeat, we have unauthorized personnel on the catwalk. You get this?
We're clear. Move in.
Butcher 1-5, rendezvous with the bastion for the escort gold to
That almost went badly wrong. They were in not very good positions for that. Oh, the barrels blew up. I was just barely in range of that. Yeah,
But yeah, last breach of the game, hardest one to do. or hardest one to do instantly, because there is a group of well, several enemies that spawn coming directly from the door. You have to kill them, and then the rest of the enemies that you just run past will running towards you and in range of the door. You really don't.
There we go, that was much more clean. That's usually how we want it to go. Quite difficult to do that consistently.
I'm executing Directive 116 Bravo. If you're still inside, your service will be...
So it's also possible to run through these doors before they close. So you don't, so you might think that you can just run to the end of the level from there, but it doesn't work. The game wants you to do all those little checks first with the keyboard and this little cutscene.
Excalibur, this is Gold Eagle. Fire mission. Target package Romeo. Danger close. That's within 100 meters of your position, sir. That's not a suggestion. Send it. Roger. Fire mission. Danger close.
They were going to be stunned a little bit from everything exploding, so we just jump forward, and because stunning only applies to you being on the ground, you can just strafe in the air forward for whatever reason. And then that'll be the end of just like all times. Then we'll be on to the final level, which is the boat sequence.
Just around the corner, come on!
Is
This one can control you in a lot of different ways. Usually it's not too bad, but you can get hit by RPGs, or you can get spun around by enemy boats, or have enemy boats parked in front of you. See what happens.
Yeah, the enemy boats in this section can be very weird. Sometimes they don't matter at all. They don't bother you. And sometimes they're constantly bumping into you, like knocking you into everything. And it's, again, very annoying. And then also you have the RPGs, which sort of fire like the rockets in Cliffhanger. Well, they'll like try and sort of fire ahead of you, but maybe not exactly. And in general, you're just trying to avoid getting knocked around by everything. Everything's exploding. Everything's shooting at you.
And yeah, if the RPGs hit you, they'll push you forward or backwards depending on where they land. If you hit in the front, it'll stop you, and then you'll be on one health while getting shot at. This boat might troll me. It's been doing it the last few times. Yeah. There's a good example of that. Ran right next to me and slammed me into a wall.
Up ahead we'll have the rapid section, which is kind of telling how in the remaster of the game they smoothed it out almost completely. Because here it's just this very bumpy, well, rapids. It's very hard to see where you're going and control what you're doing. And you can have enemy boats flying above you, flying behind you, and just knocking you around.
You might think you know how to get through there until an enemy boat turns you at the wrong way, and then you hit every possible wall. Nice RPG boost there. Just fast if I don't get shot again.
In general, level 1 can be fairly deceptive in terms of how safe you are, because 90% of the time you maybe get, some jelly on your eyes, but you'll get through just fine. Then sometimes you will just die, and then die, and then die again, because, everything's timed just right to screw you over.
And I don't know if you heard that there, but Price's gun was making sniper sounds as he was taking down the helicopter. Now in the last sequence of the game, we have to stumble our way through the shadow.
And we do what I guess is like the last trick of the game, where you take advantage of the fact that Call of Duty has lunging. You know, not as much as, say, you know, Commando and multiplayer, but when you melee someone, you lunge towards them. And here, because we're really slow, but Shepard is a bit faster, he's also invincible. So we just kind of spam meleeing him at just the right moment, like constantly, and we will just lunge and lunge and lunge all the way to the car, and, which is, you know, a little bit faster.
Saves about 5 or 6 seconds. Chasing all the way there. I didn't quite hit him there. If you time that right, you can hit him early. It doesn't do anything, but it's a cool trick, I guess.
And then, you know, the last thing that happens here is you do crawl to the gun, they fight, and then we're going to have to pull the knife out of our chest, which is a little weird because you need to press F, I think, 100 times in total, but it relies on you, like, making individual presses, so it'll wait for you to press it down and then release it, or kind of something like that. Which means if you spam it too fast, especially if you bind it to a scroll wheel, it's kind of like you're doing lots of inputs, but it only counts as one. So
I also don't know how Soap was crawling with his front there with the knife sticking out. That was a bit strange.
That's a very good point. This game is unrealistic.
Yes, F's in chat to remove the knife. Yes. You have to press F earlier to start the sequence earlier, otherwise it'll take a few seconds to start off. So you want to try and press it as consistently as possible, not too fast.
And then for the final thing, when we have to throw the knife, and time happens when we throw the knife, if you click your mouse, if for some reason it just moves your aim like halfway across the screen, which is nice.
So time's coming up right now, and that's the end. That run went alright. It goes. Give shout outs to CM and Cyberhook and Call of Duty communities for their support and donations and all of that.
Yeah, the Call of Duty community is really, like, nice and helpful. Been a part of it for a few years, and it's great stuff. In terms of speedrun, I guess it looks a little boring. If you really want to do something a bit more interesting in terms of enemies, you could try Veteran or something. It's very silly. I don't recommend it. There's also... The COD 4 speedrun has some more interesting moments. So if you want a bit more Call of Duty, you could look at Charlie Don't Surf especially, because that has some really cool bouncing going on. But apart from that, yeah, thanks to the Call of Duty community, and thanks to GDQ for having us. Having Call of Duty at GDQ.
First time.
I thought I told you this was a one-way trip.
All right, and we've got a couple more donations. We've got one from Angel625 for $25 who says, "My first Call of Duty game was Modern Warfare 2, and it remains my all-time favorite. I remember when Ghost and Roach were betrayed and I turned off the console and didn't continue until the next day. Loving the run and hoping we can see some more Call of Duty in the future." And then we've got one from Tanuki who's for $200 who says, "Just want to say that everyone's doing a great job. Keep on donating for a good cause." And we've got one more donation from Jam Cow for $30. It's a haiku. "Holy cow prizes. Gotta get me some of that. Here, take my money." Which is a good reminder to go check out our prizes. There's still time to enter for some of these really, really cool prizes we've got up there. But for now, let's get a quick Twitch ad.